I don't want to say anything about it. Yeah. Okay. Pat, for all the help we did yesterday. You're up. Yeah. Okay, so the Mishnah said that wine that falls into a vat is fully usher behana. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says you could sell the whole thing except for the money, except for the yain nesach part that's inside. So $1,000 minus whatever amount yain nesach, you're welcome to sell it. Now there's a dispute. How far did Rabbi Shimon Gamliel go with this? So we'll just start from the Gemara again, just to review. Amarav halacha Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Only chavis b'chav, avalo yain b'yain. So just to clarify, Rashi explains chavis b'chavis is not that you're dumping out the barrel, but you have a barrel that is mixed with other barrels, and you don't know which one it was idolatrous wine, which one is not. So it sounds like Rashi says, according to Shimon Gamliel, you can take one and throw it into the river, and the rest of them are permitted. So, yeah, and you can assume that was the prohibited one. Yeah, and other ones are permitted for getting benefit. However, if wine actually mixed with wine, like you pour them together into a vessel, then no, that far he's not going to go to permit the wine for benefit. Shmuel Amar afilu yain b'yain. No, he takes it one step further. Even wine mixed with wine will be permitted. B'chein Amar Rabbi Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan afilu yain b'yain. B'chein Amar Shmuel Amar Nasan Amar Chanina afilu yain b'yain. Even wine with wine. All these opinions seem to agree with Shmuel. B'chein Amar Rav Nachman Amar Rabbi Baruch Amar afilu yain b'yain. Even wine with wine. And Amar Rav Nachman, what's the halacha? Halacha l'maisa. Halacha l'maisa is yain nesach. When it comes to idolatrous wine, yayin b'yayin usr, wine mixed with other wine is prohibited. Chavis b'chavis, but if a barrel got mixed with a bunch of other barrels, that's going to be permitted. That's going to be permitted. According to Rashi, you got to take one out, and the rest will be permitted. Maybe others argue, I don't know. Stam yayin, regular wine that was not used for idolatry, but was touched by the idolater. It wasn't used to pour for his libations, or just stam yain nowadays owned by an non-Jew. So afilu yain b'yain is even wine mixed together with wine is going to be permitted. Okay,
that's typically the situation today.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very curious to just pick it up. Are we overly worried about these things? So many leniency,
Nothing spiritual.
Not what you Coach watching something, right? Yeah.
Kosher everything.
That's everything, yeah. So Gat Shel Evans. Now you have you know how to do wine presses. I don't know how to do them, but you have a wine press. Now what happens is sounds like they used to seal it, patch it up. Why are they sealing it? There's a sealant. What? I don't know. I'm not just. It leaks. Maybe it leaks. I think you're right. It leaks. Of course, they used to patch it up with pitch. That would cause a very foul smell that they're worried might ruin the wine. They would pour a little wine on the pitch to take away the smell. So now, Gachel Evans, so you have a stone wine press, Shazaf, so that you patched with pitch, you sealed with pitch. Obed Kochavim, Shazaf, Obed Kochavim, that a other words for patched up for you. So, and they used to pour a little bit of wine on there to take away the smell. So what do you have to do? Just minagva, just dry it, heat tahora, because we don't assume it absorbs it so much, this pitch. So if you just dry it off, and now it's dry, that would render your wine press to be permitted. It's kosher. Vishal eitz, what if it's a wine press made out of wood? So Rebbe Omer Yinagir, you could also get patched up, you could just dry it off. Chacham Omer no yiklof as a zefes. You have to actually peel off the pitch. You have to peel it off because we're worried that it got more absorbed. The Rash says that it needs more pitch, and therefore it needs more pitch. And since you have more pitch, it absorbs the wine more. So wood needs more pitch. that now you have more pitch. It absorbs the wine more to peel off that layer. Third kind of wine press, v'shalcher, is made of earthenware wine press. Afal pisha kalaf as a zepes, doesn't matter, even though you peeled off the pitch. Harezu asura, because we assume that it really absorbed. Somehow it got through into the actual earthenware, and earthenware really does absorb. Yeah. Yeah, Rashi says because the earthenware itself absorbs the wine a lot. So I guess we're worried it like seep through. I mean, the Jew uses it. Not a worshiper put pitch on it and then put wine on it. Sounds like the wine get through the pitch and go into the actual earthenware, and therefore peeling off that layer is not going to be helpful. Amar Rava, Dafka Zifsa. This is only talking about sounds like if you actually patched up a pitch. Aval darach ba lo. But if you just crushed the grapes and you didn't pitch anything up, you just crushed them, so then you don't have to dry anything off. All you have to do is just wash it off. You only have to dry off the wine press if you pressed it and then you patched up the pitch. But if you just crushed it, then you just have to wash it off and you're good to go. So it says the Gemara Pshita. Zivsatan, obviously the Mishnah only talked about where you put pitch on it. Then you have to dry it off. But if not for that, then you have to dry it off. So Zivsatan, I guess darachba crushing is another form of the wine of making the grapes. I mean, one is the wine press, which then you have to pitch. I mean, as opposed to using the wine press.
In an uncooked wine press.
That we'll get to in a second. Now I'll get to the next line.
That was
Yeah, sorry, correct. Yeah, go. So you only have to pitch it if that's our mission. But if you would crush it in a non-pitched wine press, then you don't have to actually dry it. You can just wash it off. It says where that's obvious. But it says where no, you would have thought even if you would have crushed it, you would still need to dry it. That which it taught that you put pitch on it was just the normal way things were done, but it wasn't coming to exclude the crushing process. Kamash Malan, that no, really it was coming to tell you only when you actually use the wine press and then you put pitch on it, then you have to dry it off. If you were to crush it and it's a non-pitched wine press, then you just have to rinse it off. You don't have to actually dry it. That's one version. Ikeda Amri Amarava Dafka Zivsa. It's specifically talking about where you put pitch on it. Aval darachba lo sagile benigu. But here, I wasn't sure. Here it's talking about also a non-pitched. This is pitch coated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's another version was saying that Rava was not talking about crushing the grapes when it was not pitched, crushing the grapes when you would still put pitch on it. So no, if it's actually if you have to seal it up with pitch and you're crushing it, drying is not enough. You have to do more than that. So Pshita says Zivsatan, it just says only when all you do is seal it, but not when you crushed it. Like, so I guess what there's crushing with the wine press, and then you pitch it up, and then there's what?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out because it took that trading it.
Right, with your feet. I did that one for this one. And they go on. Yeah. So, but sounds like one is you press it with the beams, the classic way, and one is you use your feet. By using your feet, so then why are you sealing it up?
commentation idolatry, wine is really into the wine press is where idol worshiper coated a Jew's wine press with pitch, as a result of which he added some wine. It is not common, however, to allow thousands of press grapes give wine press, since he knows that this will necessitate cleaning it before you can use it again.
I guess even when you crush the grapes, that area you have to seal up. The area of the crushing.
Yeah, I don't understand why you just seal it up in the beginning. I think I guess the pitch doesn't work that well.
I think we're looking at this thing backwards in a sense.
Yeah.
Once you seal it,
Mm-hmm.
the wine sticks on the pitch.
Okay.
The yain nesek on the pitch stays on the pitch.
Okay.
And the way of crushing the grape, what has been said, idol worship has never crushed the grapes. So.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure exactly the practicalities of this, but it sounds like the other version of Rav is saying how if somehow idol worshiper went and he crushed it in a wine press that had pitch on it already, unless you're worried about the crushing, there's no pitch there. But the wine press that's usually used for the crushing, there's pitch there. So maybe you're worried someone went onto that pitch. Yeah, he's doing it this week. He's pressing this week. Yeah, the new crop. So okay, lo sagir benigo. So pshita zivsa tanma the damn within the field barach, but even if you crushed it, then you also have to just dry it off. Of hayde katani zivsa or for the milsa katani. And now what you taught that you patched up with pitch was just the normal way. Kamash no dafka zivsa avodah lo sagir benigo. It's kind of teach you specifically that only when you just do it like that with it, when you patch it up with pitch, then you could dry it off. But if you would crush it, the idolater would crush it in a already pitched wine press, then drying it off wouldn't be enough. It would need much more. You have to peel it off because you're worried that some of the wine went into the crevices of the pitch. Yeah.
They're still cracked.
Right.
The pitch prevents the wine into the.
Where is the pitch? Under your feet? No.
The pitch is on the bottom of the press. So when you press,
the
pitch is on the pressing surface.
Oh, okay.
So that the wine doesn't soak up into the stone or into the oil. I mean, into the stone or into the wood. So you're pressing. So the pitch is pressing the grapes.
Okay.
Okay, so the idol worshippers would coat the pitch with the INSF.
Yeah.
And then when it presses.
Right. And now what if you're crushing the grapes? Where does the pitch come in?
The beam is up top.
Right. There's no pitch.
You're stumping the grapes. And
maybe you're still worried that the smell of the pitch of the wine press is going to ruin the wine that you're crushing. I don't know.
Because you're still going to cut. You cut the. What about the Folio? Well, that's me crushing. I mean, you got a vat, right? Standing in a vat and crushing. There must be holes underneath.
We'll go through. We'll try to get a picture today. We'll try to get a picture.
All right.
To see how this works. Either way. Yeah.
Surely there's a YouTube on that.
Yeah, sure. The fancy. Yeah. So Kiho the Asla Kamen the person came to Rabbi Amarle. Havli Gavra the Dachile Matzarte. So he said to Rabbi, give me a person that can come and purify for me my wine press. Come and check to make sure that there's no idolatrous wine, hanging out in there. So that Rabbi's nephew was Rav. I guess in Hedron he gave Rav smicha. He said to Rav, listen, you go check it out. Just make sure that they don't make a laughing stock of me in the base measures. Basically, don't make a mistake. If you mess up, it's not good. So Zil Bahadeh. So I'm going to Rav Zil Bahadeh. You said you go with him, and you ensure the low mitzavach talai b'image that they're not going to laugh on me in the base medrash. Yeah. So Azil. So now he went. Azil Chazi the Havi Shia. It was very smooth. Shia Tzvei was very smooh. So He said, Amar Habad Benigov Sagila. It's so smooth, just drying it off is good because it's not gonna go inside. Habad Benigov Sagila. So now the Hadi the Kaza, when he was going back and forth and checking this wine press, he saw a crevice, a crack from underneath. Did a good inspection. He saw a hole, a crevice there under the wine press. It was full of wine. Jared 74B, smack in the middle. So it was full of wine. The Hainu, the Amrlei Chavivi, he would call his uncle Chavivi, my beloved one. This is what he told me. Make sure you do a good checking so they don't laugh on me in the base measures. Meaning he could have missed it. It was under. So he looked under and he saw a crack in the wine press, and it was full of wine in that crack. So that was that. Okay. Now getting more nitty gritty in the wine press. Now really the pictures. Okay. Tana Rabbanan Hagat. So here the God is the wine press. Veha machat. Veha meshafech. So meshafech is the funnel, and the machat is like some kind of like little bucket that you use to go from the vat into the barrels. A dipper. No better word. Okay. A dipper. Yeah, it's a little scoop. Yeah, ladle, a scooping utensil. Yeah. Okay. A dipper. So all these things of the Obdeko Klavim, Rebbe Matir Benigo. Rebbe said, listen, just dry it off and you're good to go. The Chachamim Osrin. I said, no, drying off is not going to help you. They are prohibited. We're worried that they touch the wine. Yeah. Rebbe, but Rebbe agreed the kankanim shel Obdeko Klavim. When it comes to the jugs of the idol worshippers, shehein asurin. That Rebbe agrees that's too much already. Drying is not going to be enough. That's going to be prohibited. So, what's the difference between the jugs and that ladle and the funnel? So, uma hefresh bein zelazel. What's the difference between this and that? Zeh machnisu b'kiyum, v'zeh ain't machnisu b'kiyum. It's the difference if one is stored to last and one is not stored to last. The kankanim are stored to last, so therefore they're going to absorb for longer. They're there for a few days, so they're there for a few days. They're going to absorb the wine much more. The other things, the vat and the ladle and the dipper, those things are not made to last. They're here for now. For that you can just dry up. Vishal 8, Vishal 11. So let's say you have these vessels, I think the kankanim of wood or of stone, then gave, then just dry it off, no problem. However, if they are pitch, if there's pitch on them, then if they're made out of pitch, either they're coated with pitch, then they're prohibited because it absorbs some of it. So we just said that an evet, a utensil made of stone, just needs to be dried off. Jared, you go?
Yeah, I got lost in the commentary.
Yeah. Fifth chapter, 74b. Ayin Daled, 2 dots. So V'hatanan. So you just told me that the rock, the ones that had a stone, you're gonna dry them off. Maybe have some coffee and come back. V'hatanan, Gatchel Evan, a vat of stone. Shezavsa Obdeko Klavim, that it's coated with pitch. Menachva, just dry it off. Tahura. So it sounds like when you coat it with pitch, you just have to dry it off. But we just said if it's coated with pitch, it's prohibited. Drying off's not going to help. So what's the answer? Masnisin delo darakva, brisa de darakva. The Mishnah is talking about a case where you didn't crush it. If you didn't crush it, so then all you have to do is just dry it off. The brisa, which says even though it's coated with pitch, drying off is not going to help you. That's where it was crushed. It sounds like when you crush it, more of a chance that the wine's going to go into the crevices of the earth of the pitch, and therefore you have to peel it off. Drying it's not going to be enough. Okay, Amar Hagat Vivat V'hamachat in this little ladle utensil dipper, and the funnel shell of the Kochavim of an idol worshiper, Rebbe Matir Benigu, the Chachamim Osrim. Rebbe says just wipe it off, and the sages say, the Chachamim say, Osrim, no, that's not going to be enough. We're asking now on Rebbe. We learned in our Mishnah that if it's made out of earthenware, then you have to peel off. You have to peel off the even if you peel off the pitch, which it's coated with, it's still going to be prohibited. Amarava Seifa Dimasnisin Asal Rabban. You're right. The end of our Mishnah, which says that by the earthenware, it's not going to be enough to even if you peel it off, it's going to be prohibited. That is going like the opinion of the Rabbanan. Rebbe's going to disagree. Rebbe's going to say that to drying off is going to be enough. Yeah. The end of our Mishnah is going to be like the Rabbanan. Yeah, any pictures for these things. Okay. Darash Rava. Rava expounded. Na'ava Artacho. So Na'ava is you poured boiling water on the vat to clean it out. To purge it from the wine, you poured boiling hot water. Just interesting for your Judaism 101 knowledge, or not 102 really.
Oh.
Is that it comes up at different places. Shabbos we know is the best, but right, what cooks? So whenever you have water in a vessel on the fire, that's called a kli rishon. That's a first vessel. First meaning it's primary vessel, it's on the fire. That's one. We know that a kli sheni, strictly speaking, that when you pour the water from the fire into the second vessel, that this does not cook. Halachically. Now, what happens with the water in midair? Let's say you pour from a vessel that was on the fire, and you pour. Is that water the same as the vessel that it came from? Because that vessel is very hot. Or you say, 1 second, the water just hit the midair, so it's cooler. It's cooling off, obviously. Not the same as it was when it was in the vessel. In the vessel was the walls keep it hot. This in the middle. So our Gemara is one of the sources of discussion because it says here you can just pour boiling hot water onto the wine press, and it sounds like it'll make it kosher. So it sounds like that really the pouring. This is at least the opinion of the Rabbeinu Tam. It gets a little more complicated, but not everyone agrees to that opinion. But he argues with the Rashbam, but he says it sounds like just pouring it itself cooks because you're pouring boiling hot water onto the wine press. That's enough to remove the wine. The Rashbam argues, but at least here, this is one of the sources that it comes up of cooking something or removing potentially forbidden wine from something. How do you view water poured from a vessel? So, yeah, this is where a little bit Shabbos and other areas overlap. So, yeah. Okay. So, Rava Kihave Mishader Gulfi Lit Harpanya. So Rava had these gulfi, these empty jugs that he sent to Harpanya, to a place called Harpanya. Okay. And sounds like he sent them with an idol worshiper. So what did he do to protect it? Sachaf lahu apumayu, v'chasim lahu abirtzayu. So it sounds like he would actually sort of bent it over. So I don't know how he bent over a jug, but maybe he would turn it over. I think he turned it over, put it into a bag, sealed the bag.
Place the sack in the mouth of the jug.
Is the sacks in the jug?
The sack over.
Oh, over the jug. Okay.
The jug.
Right. Over the bottom. Meaning that part you can't, right? You put the bag. You just put it face down in the bag.
Right.
And the top, which is and the top of the bag, you seal. So that's like a double seal. So, Kasavar, he obviously held, Kol Davar, Shemachaniso Likiyum, any object which is used for storage, Afilu Lefisha. So these items, these jugs, are used to store wine for a longer period of time. Those kinds of items cannot be exposed. It sounds like they can even a little bit of wine would prohibit them. Therefore, he double sealed it. Lefisha, Gazru Be'Rabbanan, and therefore he didn't want to take that. Even if you would give it to an idol worshiper straight, it would be a risk of being prohibited. They'd prohibit them because maybe he put the wine in there. So therefore, he did this kind of method. Yeah. Meaning, even though we're only worried about it when the wine is there for a few days and it absorbs, but even for the moment that they made a decree to protect our vessels. So that's why he double wrapped it. Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about drying off wine presses and drying off different materials and different vessels, with what do you dry off? I would have said a towel, but I guess the point is that the wine that's on the surface, you want it to not seep in. So that we say, Rav Amar b'mayim, you take water and you wash it off. Rav Bar Chana Amar be'efer, you take ashes. So now, Rav Amar, so now we're going to ask a question. Rav Amar b'mayim below be'efer, and not with ashes? Well, how's the water going to dry it off? And Rabba Bar Chana Amar be'efer below b'mayim, it sounds like only with ashes and not with water. Ella, no, they really don't disagree. Rav Amar b'mayim v'hu adin le'efer. It sounds like one follows the other. First, you pour water on the wine press, and afterwards you put the ashes. Rav Bar Chana Amar le'efer v'hu adin le'mayim. He says the opposite way. First, you put the ashes, and then you put the water. Below pligi, and they don't argue. It just depends how b'retifasa and how b'yabashta. It just depends. Is it talking about a wet wine press or a dry one? So if it's wet, so then the first thing you have to do, there's the wetness of the wine is there. So put the ashes right away to get that off until it's dry, and then make sure you pour the water on it. And I guess what will the water do?
Get rid of the ashes.
Get rid of the ashes. Yeah, you want the ashes there. Yeah, good. I was just it'll be a basta. And if it's dry, so then you put the water first, right? And afterwards you put the ashes. Now, if you like charts, then you're gonna love this Talmud. If you don't like charts, then
I'm already in the free chart.
I guess log off now. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. So here we go. Itmar Bei Rav Mishmei de Rav. So Rav said in the name of Rav. If that wasn't confusing enough, yeah. So Itmar Bei, the Academy of Rav said in the name of Rav. Amri, they said Tarti Plat 2-3. Shmuel Amar Plat Arbai 3-4. So what does that mean? It's gonna be a certain order of how we do things. Water, ashes, water, ashes. So either it's 3 steps, or it's going to be 4 steps. So let's say Tarti Plat, the 2 that are 3 means, Rashi explains, if it's a wet wine press, it has still some of the wine, the residue is there. So then you put Tarti, you do 2. You do a for mine, ashes and water. If it's a dry one, then you do 3 steps. You do water, ashes, and then water. That was the opinion of Rav. Shmuel said Plat Arbai. He said no, 3 or 4. Meaning, if it's wet, you would do 3, and if it's dry, it would do 4. So if it's wet, you would do a for mine, ashes, water, ashes, and the water at the end we don't count because you take the ashes off. That doesn't count for the drying process. Rashi points out. And if it's dry, then you do 4 steps: water, ashes, water, ashes. Yeah. So that is the opinion of Shmuel. So now, Besura Masnu Hakim. That was how they taught this over in the town of Sura. So, not to confuse with your president. But from Badisa, Masnu Bey Rav, and from Badisa, they taught in the name of Rav. Masnu Bey Rav, Amri Mishmei de Rav. They said that Rav held Plat Arbai. He was the one that we thought a second ago was 2-3. He held 3-4. And Shmuel Amar Arba Chamesh, Arbai Chamesh. And Shmuel held 4-5. So basically in Pumpadisa, they upped it 1. Whatever Surah held, Rav and Shmuel held, Pumpadisa added a step. And now the Gemara says, below pligi. Now, who's low pligi? Who's not arguing? So either, Rashi has 2 versions. Either low pligi, in this version of Pumpadisa, Rav and Shmuel are not arguing. There's just a matter if you count the last pouring of water to remove the ashes, which is not really part of the drying process. It's just there for cleanliness. So that's that. So that's one version. Or Sura and Pumpadisa don't argue. They're just talking about, you count the last one. Okay. Below pligi, marka chashiv maya basarim, marlo chashiv maya basarim. The question was, do you count that last water to take away the ashes as one of the things that you're counting? So it's really 2-3. It could be for the drying process, and 3-4 could be just to add a step of cleanliness. Okay, or 3-4 and 4-5. Fine. Bo minim Rabbi Bo honey gurgi the aramai. These gurgi the aramai. So now, yeah, what's gurgi? Good question.
Lattice work that are wrapped around the mound of grapes during pressing prevent the grapes from dispersing from.
Actually, has two translations. One is this: things that you wrap around the mound of grapes that they shouldn't disperse. And then he quotes from Rav Haigon that it's some kind of like basket. Sounds like a weave, like a basket that's sort of like a weave. That
Box-like containers.
Box-like containers.
With which the olive pulp and seeds are placed for subsequent free press.
Yes, you mean the tiny little seeds still have some little bit of olive or some a little bit of wine in them. Juice them, so then you put them in the baskets to crush them again. So these were gurgi the aramai of the idolaters. What's their status? Amalei Rabbi Abo tenisua harei shahayu gitav ubeis badav. Okay, so now we have a whole price. I think you have the gitav. So now the gitav is going to be the wine press. Ubeis badav is going to be the part that you're pressing. So those are going to be tamein. Those are going to be impure. And ubikesh lasos betahara. And you want to go and purify them. Okay, you want to go and purify them. Just stops in the middle of a sentence. Okay, fine. And you want the produce to be tahor, to be pure. Okay, so what do? I don't know. Stops in the middle. Fine, let's see. Hadapin v'ha'adashin v'halulavin. So the dapin are the parts that are the boards of the press. The ha'adashin. Adashin is a big to-do. Rashi says adashin is actually the vat itself. The vat itself. But halulavin, the lulavin are these it's the part that collects the grapes that are crushed. The palm rooms that used to collect the lulav. These items, madichin, you can just wash it off. The problem is that if the word adashin means a vat, you don't just wash it. We just had a whole mishnah. You don't wash it off. You dry it off. So that's a big problem with Rashi. So some argue, some answer. Yeah, maybe a footnote about it. So yeah. So that's it. So those things you could wash off. The ha'akolin shel nitzarin, the shel batzputz. So these akolin shel nitzarin, these akolin are these baskets. Shel nitzarin of the what? Wicker baskets. Okay, Donna's what that means. The shel batzputz and canvas and ones of canvas. So then minagvan that you dry off. The shel shifa. And ones that are made from shifa. Shifa is a material called koyer. What's koyer? Shaf. So it sounds like marble, maybe. I don't know exactly. Shifa. Smooth material. Maybe Michelle Gemi. And a material called Gemi. So the Rashi, the Yom. Guma, Gemi. Yeah. These materials, they absorb a lot. Then you cannot just dry them off. You can't wash them off. You got to wait 12 months to use it again. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer manichan migat legat. You wait for it from one season to the next. So you wait from one wine pressing season to the next wine pressing season. Mi bad v'bad. Just I think one is oil and one's wine. The pressing of either the wine press or the pressing of the olives. So it says in the Gemara, if you wait from one season to the next, isn't it the same as 12 months? Says the Gemara, basically you're right, but there's still a difference. Sometimes the season comes later or earlier. It can come later and earlier. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says you wait for the season. You don't go after 12 months. Tanakh says you wait 12 months, even if the season came earlier, the season came later. After 12 months, you're good to go. Reb Yossi Omer, harotze l'taran, if you want to purify them, miyad, magilan beroskin, pour very hot water, boiling hot water into it. Either hot water or cholton is, I think, scorching water, no? Sorry, cholton b'meizesim. Put it into sense, scorch it with olive water, meaning olive juice, because that's going to remove the other flavor from there. Shimon Gamliel Omer Mishim Rabbi Yossi in the name of Rabbi Yossi Omer Manichan Takas Tzinor Shemem of Mekalkin. We can put it under a stream of water, a tube that the water is flowing from. Oba Mayan Shemem of Rodfin, or a Mayan that the water is rushing, and that'll clean it out. Vikama, how long should you put it there for? Ona. So we'll get back to what that means. A time period. What's Ona? We'll see. So now, a line that doesn't make so much sense. Kidera Sha'amru. So just like they said by Yayin Nesach, Kach Amru b'Taharos. We're not talking Yayin Nesach right now. We're talking about the Taharos, about keeping your food pure and impure. So says the Gemara, Klape Laya b'Taharos Kaimina. We're talking about Taharos. So what do you mean? Just like we're talking about Yayin Nesach, so too b'Taharos. We're talking about Taharos. You're right. Flip it. Ella Kidera Sha'amru b'Taharos. Just like you have these cleansing process to make sure that your material, your items are pure. Kach amru b'yayin nesach. Someone who's not learned, who has impure hands.
So then you got the material.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, good question.
I think they just bring up the Torah. Whatever you use for Torah.
Whereas he's asking why purify it, how to get impure.
I mean, if it's already, how does it get the, like, if you're inside of that, like,
so it could be we generally don't trust the unlearned people to be so careful with, they're not careful what they touch and what they, so.
But I don't even know if it's like specifically to Torah for this specific item. It's just general.
Right. Yeah. So the same way you clean it over there, you're going to clean it over here. So, Kama Ona, how much is this Ona? What's an Ona? So we have two opinions that also don't really argue. So Amar Rabbi Chiya bar Abba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, O Yom, O Laila. It means or a day or a night. Reb Chana, She'ina, Amar Reb Chana, Bar She'ina, either he's the son of She'ina, Amar Rabba Bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, also in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Chatzi Yom v'Chatzi Laila, half of a day and half of a night, which equals 12 hours, right? Half a day is 6, half a day is 6, it was 12, yeah. So, Amar Shmuel Bar Yitzchak, they're not arguing a day or a night or half a day and half a night. Below pligi. Everyone agrees you need 12 hours. The question is when? Habit Kufas Nisan v'Tishrei. So by the time period of Nisan and Tishrei, that the day and the night are equal. The amount of hours in the daytime is not like exact or very close to the amount of hours in the nighttime. Kufas Teves v'Tammuz in the like Tammuz and Teves, the beginning of the summer and the beginning of the winter. There it's not exactly the same. So that's why he said Chatzi Yom v'Chatzi Laila, because at the end of the day you need to get 12 complete hours. That's what you need. You need 12 complete hours. So one way to say it is just a day. So when the days are equal, that's just 12 hours. But when it's not like that, you would say half a day and half a night to equal 12 hours.
For your mall, is it 24 hours?
What do you say?
For your mall, like it's on day.
24, yeah.
Is that 24?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Hani Ravaki da Aramai. So these the cinnamon, the what the? Oh, the cinnamon sacks. The Aramai, all the idolaters, the Mizaya, that are made out of the hair of a person, and they don't absorb so well. What do you do with them? Madichin. That you can wash away, and now you're fine. The Amra, if it's made out of wool, thank you. The Amra minagwan, you could dry it off. The Kitna, linen. Miyashin, that you have to wait. That absorbs very well. The Ika Kitri, and if there are, if it's knotted, right? Right. So then, I guess if there's holes, and Shari Lahu, because it could have, I guess it went through the holes. We're not so worried. You gotta untie it. Yeah. Okay. So so now honey dikule v'chalasa daramai. So these dikule v'chalasa, these different baskets. The what?
Basket-like sieves.
The basket-like sieves. Okay.
Beehive shaped sieves.
That you basically your masan and you filter the wine through the aramai. So honey dikule v'chalasa daramai. Dechiti v'chavle detsuri. That are Yeah, they're sewn, change the word. They're sewn bechavile de tsuri, madichen. That are sewn with the with a certain palm tree material that you could just wash off. The tzafsa, it's a kind of gemi, doesn't absorb so well. Min nagvan. The kitna, we have the linen, you have to age, you have to wait. The isbu kitri, shari lahu. And if there are different knots, so then also Rashi says, not that it's permitted, shari means to untie. You untie it and then afterwards you dry it off because the wine got absorbed into the knots. So yeah. Okay, maybe oh my.
A long one.
Oh, we're finishing tomorrow.